How's everybody doing? I've just left work. It is, 5:03 p.m. I went to work this morning at 3:30, something like that. It's about a 13.5-hour day. This video is just going to be real quick. Why do I work so many hours for my day job? Not including being a dad at home and not including projects at home. Why do I work so many hours during the week? I don't have set hours. My position at my employer is not a 9-to-5. We work in a manufacturing production plant. It is shift work. And first shift at my job, it works 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. I do not work a shift. I work flexible hours. It's probably the biggest perk of my job. Most days, I am clocked in, ready to go between 3 and 4 in the morning. Sometimes as early as 2. I do not wait for a specific time to go home. I pretty much just continue working until I get pretty much all of my projects for that day done. All my priorities are finished. Even working 12 to 16 hours a day, which is typically what I do every day, I still don't get my entire priority list done. I do have, like everybody else, I have days where motivation's hard to come by, or you keep getting distracted by reoccurring pop-ups. Most often, my to-do list is never finished because it's never ending. I am not one of the type of people that sees 5:59, I'm not on the clock. 6 o'clock, I'm working. 2 p.m., I'm out the door. It's just not me. It's never been me. Why is that? I get asked that question most often by people of my age, the 25 to 35 range. They have a hard time understanding and grasping the concept of actually putting in 100% every day. Not just the occasional days when you have to, but every single day. A lot of that comes down to this generation. I don't know the specifics regarding the year range, but I unfortunately believe I'm lumped in with the horrible millennial generation. Our generation just doesn't have that old school work ethic. Not everyone, but more times than not, I'd say probably 80 to 85% of this generation only does the bare minimum to get by. I do think a lot of that comes from the current economic work demands, where you're only paid as much as it costs to replace you. And everyone's trying to save that dollar on labor by paying you less, but demanding more. So I think part of it... Sorry, I'm going to take the hat off. It's getting warm here. Oh, man, is that a rough hair. I need a haircut badly. Bad. So a lot of that does come from that work demand. They want to pay you less. They want you to do more. And people of my generation they're not into that. I have probably, I'm coming up on 20 years in the workforce. I think I'm at 18 years now, and I'm 32. I started working when I was 14, a legitimate job. I had to get a work permit signed by my parents for the state. Federal paperwork all signed out that it's approved and not illegal child labor. I wanted to do it. And mainly that was because I wanted to make money. Sorry, I just got a hair in my mouth. I don't know where that came from. Well, I wanted to make money. Why is that? I grew up, I'm not going to say less fortunate, but we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of things to go around, and everyone, gets new clothes and new TVs and video game systems and new bikes and all this cool stuff growing up. We never got that. Big shopping day was when we went to Goodwill. Not that, and that's the thing though. All my life, I thought it was because we couldn't afford it. And it wasn't until I was an adult in my early 20s that I realized that it's not because we couldn't afford it, it's because my parents were very frugal. They were very selective over what they spent their money on. I wouldn't say cheap because they did buy nice things every now and then, but more so than not, they knew when not to spend money. Both of my parents are from the baby boom generation. And back then, both my parents come from families with 8 siblings each. And back then, you didn't have a big income. So if something broke, you learned how to fix it yourself. If you got a job, you busted your hump every single day because people relied on that income to pay for their food. There wasn't the government handouts and whatnot like there are today. And I don't know. Youth these days just don't get it. They just don't get it. There's a reason why I excel or have excelled so much further than a lot of people I went to high school with. A lot of friends growing up, they're still, trapped in certain points of their life that they'll never be able to escape. They just don't have that work ethic. And I've always pushed myself. I choose to work hard. For example, I know that I have so much to do at my day job that it's a never-ending list. However, due to childcare, which I'm sure a lot of you are...
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Thanks, phone.
Estimated time in traffic, 9 minutes.
I hate you, phone. So, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with childcare and having to structure your work schedule around it, or having to leave early because something comes up, or you can't work overtime on a certain day because of this or that, getting kids to soccer practice and football practice and all that. Both of my kids are young. Cam is 4 and Ella is 3. But I can't stay very late because of childcare. I have to get home and relieve the babysitter. And by staying late, I mean past 5 o'clock. I have a hard time staying past 5. There are times that we have a nanny. We were regularly hiring a nanny to come in 3 days a week and help watch the kids from 3 to 7 p.m. In that case, I can stay late because someone is there to watch the kids. The income I earn in those extra hours at work more than pay for the babysitter or the nanny. I believe she just recently broke her arm. Yeah, I think she broke her arm. So she's out of the loop right now. we expect her to come back in the next few weeks. So right now, I can't stay late. Not only do I still want to make the income I was making when I was working 16 hours a day, but during that period, I got so much accomplished every day at work because I basically was working 2 days every day that I don't want to start losing ground. And so the only thing I can do is come in earlier. So most days I'm in sometime around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I leave about 5 p.m., 4 to 5. There are days going in, like I said, at 2 in the morning and leaving at 7 or 8 at night. It's a long day. There's a lot to do. But there is something about this generation that just doesn't want to work hard. And I get it. I do perfectly understand not wanting to put that extra effort in. One, if you're not appreciated, and two, if you're not compensated for it. Now that's something that a lot of employers have a hard time working around. But the main reason I work so many hours is because I know what it's like to grow up without having a lot of options. And I want a better life for my kids than I was given. And not say anything, negative about my parents and the way we were raised. I very much appreciate the way I was raised because it formed who I was. It built the work ethic in me. It built the character that I have. And I couldn't imagine being raised another way. But I think every parent should want better for their life. Should want better for their child's life than theirs. And for that reason alone, you should work as hard as you can, whether it's at a job, you're self-employed, you own your own big business, or if you're an investor. I mean, you work yourself to the bone to create a life for your family. The biggest thing, though, don't get so busy building an income that you forget to live your life. That work-life balance is something I struggle with every day. I'm sure a lot of people do. But there's ways to overcome it. There's ways to take into consideration your spouse, your children. When was the last time they actually got to spend some time with you? And just make sure that while you're working hard, you're not hardly seeing your family. Because remember, kids don't grow up remembering what they had. They grow up remembering that you were there. They grow up remembering the things you taught them, not the video game you bought them. And remember, your spouse married you, not your paycheck.